I think, London is multicultural in the sense that it is made up of a lot of cultures. Whether or not they mix or there is harmony is a whole different question. I think it's a lot more complicated than just being deemed multicultural, because I think there's a respect for different cultures 100%, but in terms of actually being harmonious, I think there's a lot of work to be done. Although I respect what it is, I also believe there are more black stories out there. Black isn't one thing. There are black guys like you who've grown up in Scotland who I've met, and their conception of race is very, very different to how someone in London grows up surrounded by certain races. I have got a flatmate who's half like Japanese, who's half Nepalese. Her idea of race is different because she grew up in Norwich, Whereas I said to her, yeah, here people look at you as an ethnic minority. In Norwich, she doesn't really meet anyone else except those who are white and British. So her identity is isn't as strong. Whereas I know people celebrate Nepalese Independence Day in West London. She's been away from it, so she doesn't really. The same way a guy in Scotland, who's grown up in Aberdeen, his idea of what it means to be black is different. Your idea of being black is because you've got all these references around you, you've got this history. And what I was saying about Windrush generation, I get what it means. That was the first immigrants, the first black immigrants. But my parents came here 20 years after that. They came in the early 70s as students. And they would tell me that when they got here, the only ethnic minorities they met were Caribbeans, because they came as students. The Caribbeans came to live. They came as Africans to study and go home initially. So, their idea of Caribbean, it's like their idea of Caribbeans was, Caribbeans are here. They've come to live. We've come to study and go home. So, I think there's more than one black story. When people hear Windrush, they think it represents every single. There's an article recently by a really famous architect, David J, who's black, one of the most famous architects in the world, and he said in his article that black people don't go to art galleries. Generally, you don't associate. I was at the Design Museum walking around. I don't see too many ethnic minorities. So there's a certain idea of what black is, and I think sometimes black people, often we can reinforce that inadvertently, but you think, like you are of Ghanaian extraction, so I can base all my assumptions that you should go to church, you should speak Ga, tree, whatever. There's a lot of assumptions I can make based upon the fact that you are of a certain skin tone. And when you say, nah, I don't, it's like, what's going on? Who are you? What's this about? And I'm quite passionate about telling more than one story. I encourage my nephews to do that, to build your own. To build your own story, to tell more than one story. People say, you talk like you're privately schooled. What the hell is that? What does that mean? What does that mean? That obviously means there's a reference to you speak. I believe you speak well. You speak formally. You're articulate. However, the way it comes across is not like that. And I don't think it's intended to be. Oh gosh, you're articulate. It's actually wrong. Why do you speak like that? You're a black male. Shouldn't you say water instead of water? Like that sort of stuff. So, but initially when I first heard that was said as an insult. It wasn't said as a sort of compliment. Now I can construe it as a compliment because I'm an adult. But as a teenager, I've seen it as probably an insult or a dig. Did I want to speak more in a more urban way? Of course, because I wanted to belong. But that was self-imposed. I mean, I don't think I was successful, but I probably desired that. I wanted to belong. Whether you're born in London or born in the Shetland Islands, if you were black, there is a common black experience. I definitely believe that there's a common experience which anyone can relate to, just because of the encounter colour of your skin. Your exact narrative and story differs vastly all the time. So I don't think there is much of a gap. I mean, obviously we can talk about class structures and such, which is a whole another video. But when relating that to race, I have some friends who are privately educated. I honestly believe that there's that bridge is a lot closer than we think. That gap is a lot closer than we should think.